So the reality is that I've been a game developer and content creator for the past 4 years, okay? And I've been able to work at some super big companies such as Voodoo, Zemba, etc. I've created dozens of games, but in none of these games I've actually drawn. But well, this year I've started my university degree in game development, okay, at a university here in Argentina. And yes, one of the subjects that I have to go through is 2D art. So I want to show you whether a game developer can actually draw or not. So of course we did have some introductory lessons in which, well, they explained the basics of art, etc. But then right from the scratch we started to draw. Of course we were able to draw either on paper or digitally. Fortunately, I have bought a graphic table a couple of years ago, because yes, I did want to experiment a little bit with drawing, but I have never like drawn super seriously. I did create some pixel art, but nothing in like pixels themselves. So the first activity was to actually draw a human shape, okay, like in a simple way without using any kinds of reference itself. So I did try my best. I did try to look at some pictures to at least understand a little bit like how to draw. Once again, this is not something super good, but it is okay to kind of start drawing, because you can like the scaling is not too bad. Okay, I did try to make it as good as possible, because at this stage I didn't know like how to draw properly, like how many heads should fit in the entire body to make it have a good proportions. So once again, it was something like super basic just to start off. This drawing over here took me, I believe, something like 2 or 3 hours just to draw this. I did want to make it as good as I could. But anyway, and by the way, of course, at university, you are able to get feedback from your teachers. And basically, well, the teacher told me, yes, this is perfectly valid for the first point. The task had 3 points. So the teacher told me, yes, this is completely fine. It is okay for the first point, okay? So neither perfect nor completely bad. So it was standard. It was fine for the for that point, okay? So there you have the first point. Then the second point, I did have to create some versions. So this one was the first thing that I created. The idea was to use a reference, to use proportions, and to draw, I don't know like the translation to English, but I believe it's action line, basically where the column is. And also in some drawings, this action line can also like continue to the legs or to other places depending on the position of the subject. But in this case, like the action would be directly over here. Well, not right here, then I corrected it in the following versions. So the idea was to just using a reference and using proportions, as you can see, well, to kind of start to draw. And here's where I actually started learning some stuff. So for example, that of course the drawing has to be proportional, but how do you know that? So for example, a way is to take approximately the width, okay, of the head, and count how many heads you have in width and height. So in this case it was 5 of width and 2 of height, at least like in this part, okay, between head and body. Then if you count it also from back to the shoes, okay, it would have been maybe something like 4 or 5. And well, using all those proportions, I also tried to draw it the best that I could. Why did I choose this pose? Just because I like working out and I didn't know what to draw, so I just chose this picture. But then I submitted it for revision for the teacher, and I had some corrections. This is in Spanish, but it is not like the important thing here is that the teacher corrected me the action line that actually was here like more to the neck actually here, and that also I didn't have like to draw the outline here. I actually had to use geometric shapes, okay, to kind of start drawing. So I also had to correct that and basically draw it from complete scratch. And also I had to look for another reference, because in this reference it wasn't clear like where the arm was. Also like here it seemed like the man only had one leg, so the reference overall was not a good reference. So I ended up drawing another version, and this one was much better. I don't have the final feedback whether or not this final version is good or not, I don't know. So here's the second version. I wanted to take advantage of being in digital, so I also kind of counted perfectly the heads and everything just to be more accurate. So I also counted here that, for example, between the head and the middle of of the glutes, let's say, there was something like 2.5 heads or close to 3, 2.75. So I also wanted to follow that proportion over here, because, well, here I had the same problem. That, well, I had to, well, I didn't have the same problem, sorry. I had to make it like this, like with shapes, okay, rather than just outlining the drawing. So I don't have the correction for this one. I don't know if this is completely fine, but I believe that yes, it should be much better. And lastly, for the third part of the assignment, we had to take an animal and do the same thing. So I actually did all the activity at once, and then I received the feedback for each point. So that's why in this case, I didn't firstly create the shapes, and I directly created the outline, and that wasn't something that they wanted. They first wanted us to create the shape, and then if we wanted, we could actually create the outline. So as all the shapes were missing, well, they told me you have to create firstly the shapes. And also here the proportions were not correctly, because here I counted 4, but we're actually 3. Once again, because check how this section is not correct. So, well, I didn't count that correctly. And I also, just because I thought that I had to do, I also created some more details, such as the face, etc. Because I thought that I had to, because if not, the drawing itself would be like quite empty. So here is the correction. So once again, here is, as you can see, it's not 4, it is just 3. So I entered in details, and what they wanted was something like this. So once again, I went ahead and created what they told me, okay? So firstly, I created like the shape, okay, itself with shapes, and then I outlined the shapes to actually create kind of like the final version. And now they did tell me that it was much better and it was fine to pass the assignment. So to conclude, can a game developer draw? Yes, of course. But it is, at least for me, I am not an artistic person in terms of drawing. I am super bad at it, and I also hate it. But well, I did try my best to do the best drawings as possible. But well, it will require some extra effort, because I hate this. What I like of game development is the coding itself, so the programming, and maybe also the game design, but the art, definitely I hate it. And probably I am not going to dedicate myself to the art. This still told us that, okay, if you are then working on a team and you know a little bit of art, you can work better with the team, because you can provide better feedback, and that's completely valid and a good reason to actually learn to the art, even if you are not then going to be a 2D artist or dedicate to the art of a game. So well, whenever I create more stuff, maybe I share it here with you. And well, if you want more type of this content, just let me know in the comments down below, and also subscribe for the channel. I will see you in the next one, and bye bye.